A new update for Squad Busters lands tomorrow, and a bunch of the patch information has been revealed, which is really exciting. The first thing I want to cover here is the fact that fusion keys are getting a nerf. It's going to lock your battle bag for the rest of the match if you use a fusion key. I'll be honest, I don't think this fixes keys, but the fact that the developers have nerfed fusion keys while saying they're still even thinking about what to do with keys like 24 hours ago is pretty sweet. This is a good change. The problem is that today you could still use a couple epic keys and then pop your way into a fusion key toward the end of the match. And like, if you're using fusion keys, it's honestly not a bad idea to wait till the last 60 seconds because then you're more or less likely, I guess I was going to say more or less guaranteed, but you are much more likely to get an epic from an epic chest. Speaking of which, epic chests and rare chests, which by the way, in case you didn't know, as your match progresses, the chests will change and they will turn into rare chests and epic chests. They're making it so that those are now more likely to give you more rares and epics respectively. So that is both good news, bad news. Good news is they're making it so that you're more likely to get the more rare units. The bad news is that you better fuse your commons early or it's probably not going to happen. And like, it is what it is, but spend the first part of your match fusing your commons, in case you weren't doing that already. But you should have been. In addition, as if the Barbarian needed any buff at all, he's already the strongest common unit, I think, in the game. He's now going to come with 200 more health. That is awesome. The problem with the Barbarian is he's a frontliner. Frontliners get really beat up. You run a little bit of risk of your Barbarian popping, but if you watch my dedicated Barbarian video, you know that this thing is the GOAT, and it's now by far the best thing to start a match with, hands down. In addition, Dynamite is getting a small DPS buff, and it doesn't sound like much, but when you realize that his DPS scales with everything being hit, I think it's encouraging that the developers are buffing slowly and incrementally rather than like over-tuning it and making the unit OP and then nerfing it. I think it's better to buff slowly over time than go too far in the opposite direction and then have to peel it back. So Dynamite is getting more DPS, and I'm definitely eager to give that a try. In addition, there's a fix for the bee, and I've historically rated bee poorly because you have to get a beehive and you have to leave the middle, and you probably even have to do it twice within the same match, which kind of sucks. But now at the super form, bee will actually let you keep your bees all battle long, which is massive. Penny, as if she needed a buff, is now going to be able to find more loot and treasures, which is amazing. So I think this, look, when you look at the tank, the reward is insane for physically getting into a tank. If you look at the bee unit, the reward is insane if you find the bee. I would not have said that Penny's reward is insane when you find the treasure map, but sounds like they're moving more in that direction, which is pretty wild. Also, they're making it so that, for what it's worth, if you're in the chest imposter game mode, the chest will have less health, making it easier to squad up. The furnace and the shrink spell will appear more frequently, which, if you watched my video explaining how all the spells work in the game, and like, you do want to win more, right? Why haven't you watched this video? But if you didn't know how the spells work, furnace and shrink are the least frequent to show up, and they are among the most powerful spells the game can offer. Well, they will appear more frequently now. Good to know. By the way, in case you haven't watched the video, shrink will reduce your damage dealt while shrunk by 90%. Do not ever fight in a shrink spell. Now, freeze spell is going to have a more effective slowdown. I assume this is to pair with the fact that we're getting the Ice Wizard into the game. But here's the thing, okay? The spell duration is very low. On a frost spell, it's 3 seconds. So basically, if you catch somebody with this spell and the slowdown is even more effective, they're just dead. You can run away if you're running, and you will wreck your enemy if they are running and you hit them with this spell somehow. I don't know. I don't think people are going to like getting caught by freeze spell, but I guess we'll see how it goes. In addition, super bosses are now going to drop more hammers, like in Mega Mole. So if you do take down the Mega Mole, there is actually a reward. And like, will I go for that? Yes. Yes, I will. Also, this is a huge fix for those of you with stuck accounts, I hope. But you can now get portal energy from playing battles. And if you open a chest and you already have your common units maxed out, you will instead get portal energy. And I think this is true of all maxed out characters. So I think this will make it so that players that were stuck behind chests, and like I covered this in my video where I took all my units to the ultra tier, now you will no longer have this problem of just being unable to progress your account, I think. They must have added a lot of portal energy levels, but we'll find out tomorrow, right? Also, chests will no longer stop respawning in battle if a squad was busted while that chest was being opened. See, now this is kind of interesting because, I don't know, technically, if you're standing on top of a chest, it is so helpful to like keep opening and keep opening and keep opening, but it's kind of broken. Like, if you find somebody and you're fighting them and they're on top of a chest and they're the one getting the chest, they could squad up with like 2 or 3 squad members over the course of a fight and maybe even get a mega. So it is good, I think, that you will be able to have that chest continue to be functional. Like sometimes there's just whole parts of the map that are unusable, but I think there was something to the fact of like stopping the respawning, at least temporarily, while a squad was in the process of getting busted. But whatever, it is what it is. We'll see how we like it. Tombstones will also no longer stop things like the tank, apparently, from spawning into the map, or beehives. So that seems good. They also fixed a spell swapping issue with the wizard where it would accidentally throw the spell. And I swear to you, I was not having skill issues, and it's true. Developers have validated that sometimes it will just throw the spell. The way this works is when you have a wizard at a high enough tier of rarity, I think it needs to have a certain level of rarity, you get 2 spell slots. When you have 2 spell slots, you tap the second spell to switch, and it was throwing the second spell sometimes. So really glad that they're fixing that. In addition, loot drops from characters that you summon from a chest will now be harder for an opponent to steal. I don't know how the developers are going to do that, but I often found myself worried if I was mid-fight and I pick a chicken. Am I going to lose my speed boots to my enemy? I have been the victor, by the way. I covered this in a video where somebody summoned a mega chicken, and it wasn't me, but I got their turbo boots because I was chasing them. It was disgusting. Oh my God. So like, yes, this is of course a very, 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 very good change. Also, maps are going to spawn many more monsters as the battle progresses, including more bosses. And I think this is a very, very, very good change for the game, and it will skew the game more in the direction of PvE. But what I found in really, really difficult lobbies, and I'm ranked in the top 50 in the world, by the way, is, I mean, I'm not bragging, just trying to establish credibility. But the point I'm trying to make here is that I found that in really tough matches, you lose a few units and then there's nothing to kill PvE wise to like regain your squad. You're just dead. You just lose. So you have to be like so cautious to not lose literally any units or it snowballs out of control. And I think this is a good change to give more monsters. Also, though, it is going to skew the game to be more of a PvE game because there's just going to be more PvE stuff to do. And I think there's like good news, bad news to that. I think the more players that are like real players that are in the lobby, the better it is for there to be more monsters. That way everybody's got stuff to do and a way to find value. Also, this is a huge change, but there will be a yellow outline around the thing you are targeting or your units would target if you let them go attack instead of moving. And this is a really nice change. I mean, if you've been playing the game for a while, you have an intuitive sense of this, but to know exactly, oh, this is what I go attack if I stand still now is actually kind of a big deal and will make it, I think, easier to be more skillful, okay? Now from here, of course, we know that new cosmetics are on the way. And by the way, I have to just give a big shout out to Full Frontage. I pulled this information from his video because I'm still not in the creator program and I really wish I was. I do have a temporary code Chisgule. All creators got access to a temporary code for a certain amount of time, but I would love, please, I would love to have access to this information at the same time as other creators. It'd be amazing. I don't know any of the community managers, but if you know one, introduce me, that'd be freaking sweet. Anyways, in addition, Pinata Party is going to get easier. Well, not Pinata Party. Technically, it's the Pinata event. But in the Pinata Party game mode, there's going to be giant pinatas full of pinata sticks when the Pinata Festival's here, which is pretty cool. In addition, Loot Surge will have a Pinata Sticks Surge when the Pinata Festival is active. For Spell Overload, big monsters and bosses have an increased chance to drop spells. In Gem Overload, the Furnace was kind of weird because you'd summon fire spirits, but those would drop gems. So a Furnace represented like a huge boon of gems. They will no longer drop gems. So that is good, in my opinion. No longer rewards the target for being a target. Doppelgangers will limit the number of things that can drop. I may have covered this already, but it drops now only 3 characters per transformation. So if you pick a chicken, you'll still get 3 characters worth of speed boots, which could be 9 speed boots or maybe 12, depending on if they let your fusion also give you speed boots. I guess we'll find out. But things like the Goblin, the Archer Queen, even Penny is going to get majorly nerfed for Doppelganger, and I think that's not a bad thing. I think that it was getting a little out of control with the way that Doppelganger worked, but this also means that the people that spent a lot of time going back and forth doing the Goblin Trader strategy in Doppelgangers today and in the past may hold the forever world record on the maximum number of gems that you can ever hold in game, is what it is. Up next, Gem Grab also is changing. Rings are worth more and only drop 1 at a time when your units in your squad get busted, which is awesome. Previously, you would drop all your rings whenever any one member of your squad gets busted, which kind of sucked. So now if you have 4 rings, then 4 things would have to get busted for you to drop those rings, and presumably you could pick things up as you were fighting. So I think it's a very, very good change. And I honestly sit here and I'm like, man, if the developers had launched the game in this state of balance, it would have been, I think, a smoother launch for sure. I feel like a lot of these changes are really, 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 really good. Like if you combine these changes with the things I covered in yesterday's video, wow. If the game had launched this way, it wouldn't need to have launched with skins. Like the skins coming later is fine. And skins, by the way, according to Full Frontage, might run you around $5 in the shop for the ones that are purchasable. So excited about that to go get those. And by the way, those skins will make it so that any form you have will be replaced by the cosmetic if you get it. So whether you have a baby or an ultra, it will be the new cosmetic. There's no variations as far as I understand, based on the rarity of the unit. Although that would have been really sick if there was, but whatever. You want to see my video yesterday covering a bunch of in-depth information that wasn't even maybe even like intentionally revealed. It was sort of, I mean, I literally had to go frame by frame to find this stuff. Check the card in the end screen. I think you'll enjoy it.